Disclaimer: these videos are not made for a younger audience. They may contain coarse language as well as discussions of mature themes and situations, and thus may be deemed unsuitable for a younger audience. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome back, everyone, and hello to those of you just tuning in. Today we're doing another single episode review, and this time I'm going to be talking about the pilot episode of one of my favorite shows, Red Dwarf, created by Grant and Naylor. I'm going to link a more in-depth look at the show's creation here, but for the cliff notes, in the late 80s, writers Rob Grant and Doug Naylor, who had been inspired sometime earlier watching Dark Star, and wondering why nobody had done it as a sitcom, decided that they would be those people, and pitched to the BBC Red Dwarf, a series about a schlubby, good-for-nothing layabout, a tight-assed hologram, a senile supercomputer, and the coolest man who's ever lived. We didn't want aliens, so we made the character Rimmer a hologram. He was a complete job's worth, so Lister is the opposite, a slob. All space shows have a genius computer, so we made ours, Holly, an idiot. We also wanted someone cool, like they'd evolved from cats. Hence the cat. After being rejected 3 separate times, the show was given a chance, and eventually they found their actors. Dancer Danny John Jules was cast as the cat, performance poet Craig Charles as David Lister, after being initially brought in to make sure the cat hadn't inadvertently been written racist in any way, and subsequently being taken with Lister's character. Comedic actor and impressionist Chris Barry was cast as Arnold J. Rimmer, and comedian Norman Lovett was cast as the ship's computer, Holly. With everything now in place, it was time for the show's beginning, which naturally was called The End. After being treated to the sheer grandeur of the Red Dwarf scale, making its name kinda ironic, seriously, this ship is 6 miles long. We are introduced to our human leads and the 2 lowest ranking crew members aboard this ship, and that includes the robots on board.
It's stupid anyway, all this maintenance business. The only reason they don't give this job to the service robots is they've got a better union than us.
Anyway, we're introduced to the characters of and dynamic between the more relaxed, lackadaisical David Lister.
I hardly know her.
And his co-worker, the more hard-edged, tight-ass, power-crazed Arnold Rimmer.
I hardly know her.
Get out of here. Okay, with their different work ethic, personalities, and levels of sanity, partnered with Chris Barry and Craig Charles actually hating each other at the time, really effectively sets up their argumentative odd couple dynamic in no time flat.
Lister, one more sound, anything, and you're on report Mileto. Right, that's it. Lister D, third technician, offense, obstructing a superior technician by humming, clicking, and being quiet.
The 2 are vending machine repairmen on board a mining ship, and as they bicker from job to job, they're briefly joined by one of their superiors, Frank, which reinforces Rimmer's hatred of Lister.
Rimmer, I'm just going through McIntyre's artifacts, and I see that you filed 247 complaints against Lister.
And how little the crew as a whole respects Rimmer.
Oh, Rimmer! You are a snakehead.
And for good reason. The writing, direction, and most importantly, Chris Barry's performance all come together to make Rimmer come across as the worst, most insufferable person you could ever have the displeasure of working with, or God forbid, work under. Many words come to mind when I want to describe Old Arn. Difficult, bastard, asshole, Judas, fittingly. But I think Davy Boy says it best.
Because he's such a smeghead.
Back to the recap, though, and after the brief funeral procession of Officer George McIntyre, we check in on Dave and Arn as they're watching in their bunk. Listy, you poor son of a bitch, you can't even escape him in your quarters. Meanwhile, the ever-ready Rimmer, always wanting an opportunity to climb the ranks, preps for the engineer's exam by cheating.
This is not cheating. It's merely an aid to memory.
Lister tries to tell him it's pointless if he has to cheat to get anywhere, which Rimmer ignores, citing Lister's seeming aimless contentment in being the bottom rung on the ship. Oh, but au contraire, Listy's got himself a plan.
Not nothing. I've got me plan. My 5-year plan. You see, I'm going to do 2 more trips. I'm going to buy myself a little farm on Fiji. I'm going to get a sheep and a cow and breed horses.
Rimmer takes this about as seriously as you think, making fun of him and his plan.
Lister, you've got the brain of a cheese sandwich.
Holly signals that it's time for the welcome back party of recently deceased Officer George McIntyre. which is here to introduce the audience to one of the most important facets of the show: holograms.
Because he is in every respect like George. He has George's personality and George's knowledge and experience. Of course, he can't lift anything or touch anything, so I ask you to cooperate with his request.
Hollister's got another announcement before celebrations can commence. Holly's found an unknown life form aboard, and he wants anyone who sees something suspicious to alert command.
Sir, it's Rimmer.
Back in their quarters, Lister wishes Rimmer luck with his exam. You know it's just because he wants him out of his hair, but it is nice to see a genuinely nice moment between these two, especially this early. I bring this up mainly to segue into this. The unknown life form is Lister's pregnant cat, Frankenstein, who he has a tender moment with while he reminisces about his plan. But the moment can't last. God's favorite idiot sent a picture of himself and Frankie to the photo lab to get developed, because I guess film cameras and VHS tapes come back into fashion in a couple centuries. Well, one of those already did. And since an unchecked cat could cause untold danger to the ship and its crew, Captain Hollister gives him an ultimatum. Give up the cat for dissection,
So with respect, sir, what's in it for the cat?
or give up his pay and go into stasis for the remainder of the trip. It's not an easy choice, but he makes the right one. He's led by Todd Hunter.
I hardly know her.
God fucking damn it. He's led by Todd Hunter to the stasis chambers, passing Rimmer in the hall as he's being brought to the medbay. Yeah, that test didn't go so well. Anyway, let's just put on ice, and while his sentence was supposed to last 18 months, because of an improperly repaired drive plate, he's frozen for 3 million years to wait out the radiation leak. The episode then follows Holly telling Lister how much time has passed and that everyone is gone. The way it's handled takes the sense of disbelief anyone would have upon learning that everyone you know, not just your co-workers, but your friends and loved ones too, are so long dead that it's inconceivable, and how long it would take for that to sink in. And makes it one of the funniest scenes in the episode, and one of the most iconic scenes that I will ever have to cut to shreds to try and dodge copyright claims. Roll it, white boy.
Should have never let him out in the first place.
After telling Lister all that, Holly also tells Lister what the hell all of this white powder is,
That is catering officer Olaf Peterson.
and who exactly is responsible for the improper drive plate repair. And are you even remotely shocked that it was Rimmer? Lister does take a moment to mourn a particular crewmate, Christine Kachansky. He had a bit of a thing for her, and had hoped for her to be part of his plan.
Well, she won't be much use to you on Fiji now. Not unless it snows and he needs something to grip the path with.
But hey, Listy ain't alone with Holly, unfortunately for him. Art makes his way to the drive room, having been brought back as a hologram,
Yes, that's because I'm dead.
much to his own chagrin.
Come on, Rimmer, look on the bright side.
What bright side? I'm dead. I'm composed entirely of light, and I'm alone in space with a man who'd lose a battle of wits with a stuffed iguana.
Lister is right, though, in a way. If you ask me, Rimmer would probably only have been brought back as a hologram in this situation. If the rest of the crew were alive and well, had he died on the job in any other way, or even if anyone else was frozen, Rimmer, and Lister for that matter, are so non-essential to the maintenance of the Red Dwarf that he would almost certainly have just been skipped over for hologrammatic resurrection with just a condolences letter sent to his family. Rimmer's trying to get Lister to listen to him, and we're finally introduced to the last of our main characters, until Season 3, the cat, who saunters onto the scene in the only way he could. And quickly crosses paths with Dave and Arn, scaring them off on account of, well, the only one who should be alive is Lister, and they have never seen him before. They hide away in the break room, and Holly gives them the quick rundown. Frankenstein was safe in the ship's cargo area, and over the millions of years, her offspring evolved into an intelligent humanoid form.
Whoa! Crease!
Please note that intelligence is a relative term. After a failed attempt by Rimmer to attack, seriously, Rimmer, what exactly was your plan? Lister takes the sensible action and talks to the cat, bringing the cat to his and Rimmer's quarters and giving him food. Dave tries to ask him about where the other cats have gone, but he's too focused on eating. Rimmer, by comparison, doesn't care and wants him gone. And as Lister protests that he's going home with them, name-dropping Frankenstein as he does so, he inadvertently gets the cat's attention. Turns out that, in those 3 million years, stories of Lister's plan had been passed down and mythologized, making him into their god figure, Cloister the Stupid, who shall lead them to Fushal, the promised land. What's a myth if not history playing a game of telephone? Hearing the cat's story, Lister vows to bring him to the promised land, telling Holly to plot a course for Fiji. This episode does a fantastic job at laying the groundwork of these characters. David Lister is a slobby idiot with a good heart and some decent people skills, having a good few friends. Unlike Rimmer, he has a positive rapport with Todd Hunter, and he seems to have got the cat on his side pretty quick. Arnold Rimmer is a delusional, uptight, narcissistic bastard, and you just love to watch him play off of Lister. The way Chris Berry and Craig Charles bounce off each other, you could legitimately watch them for hours and not get tired of it. The day I started watching, I got through 3 seasons before I had to force myself to stop. With what little screen time he has, Danny John Jules crushes it as the cat. He manages to come off as narrow-minded, self-absorbed, and effortlessly cool. And for the last of our cast, who could forget Holly? Norman Levitt's dry, matter-of-fact delivery of most of his lines sells the comical absurdity of the situation, and the few moments of emotion he does have make it even funnier. I do want to note that Holly was initially meant to be just a disembodied voice, and the floating head on the screen was a request by Lovett, and the show's all the better for it. Just being able to put a face, or, well, faces, to the voice helps give Hall character, helps the audience connect with them. The show also does a fair job at setting up some future plot points. Of course, there's the obvious one of the ship's slow trek back to Earth, but without spoiling anything, there's also the recurring point of Lister feeling the weight of being the last human, and particularly missing Kachansky. Rimmer's family comes up frequently, and through his many stories, it does get through to you that he is kinda right. His parents probably were the wrong parents. The show even tackles Lister being God as early as the 4th episode of this season, Waiting for God, and as recently as 2020 with the special The Promised Land. So there's not a ton of recurring threads stemming from this episode, but that is kind of to be expected given the series' more episodic nature. With its enduring characters, excellent sense of humor, and fantastic stories, it's no wonder why it's endured this long. 12 seasons, a feature-length special, and a semi-recently announced prequel series, it's safe to say Red Dwarf isn't going anywhere, and it's all thanks to one fabulous first episode. If you haven't already, give Red Dwarf a shot. No amount of me or anyone else recapping the plot can substitute actually watching the show. For some other episode recommendations, I'd say Future Echoes, Waiting for God, Crichton, Parallel Universe, and Straw Cab. But that's it for this one, dudes. Hope you all enjoyed. A lot of the background info was sourced from an interview Doug Naylor and Craig Charles had with The Guardian, which is where I pulled the quote from. I'll link it in the comment down below. Speaking of, if you enjoyed this video, why not leave a like, comment your thoughts, maybe subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you know when I upload next. Catch y'all on the next one.